Hey everybody, you're listening to WLPN LP Chicago 105.5 FM. It's Lumpin' Radio.
You listen to WLPN LP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin' Radio.
Didn't I just say that, Chris?
You did, and I forgot. I screwed it up. Here's what I'll say instead. It's, Bridgeport, that's the Q. And then it's July 18th, 2019. You're listening to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I'm your host, Chris Quinn, and I'm joined by my many guests. I'm already off the rails. Producer Jamie has really got me worried and nervous. I'm sweating. I'm kvetching over here. Yeah, no, don't
Everybody
touch me
calm
with your
down.
sweat.
Just calm down.
Yeah. Anyway, I am here in Studio B at the lovely Co-Prosperity Sphere. Thanks, as always, to Lumpin' Radio for having us on. It's been great. Thank you so much, and thanks to all of you guys for having us again, and thanks to you guys. I am really off my game, and I'm not kidding. Jamie has thrown me off.
You're good. Have some more Bon and Vive.
Yeah, and maybe by episode 178, I'll get this thing down. But no, thanks for listening, guys, over the airwaves, 105.5 FM. Much appreciated. If you're listening live, then you can hop on into Lumpin's chat room. It's tlk.io/WLPN. Oh. See?
Wah.
Well, you can't anymore. Maybe we'll change it. We're going to show this station a thing or two. We're going to put the system on trial, starting with producer Jamie now that he's out of the room. Okay. Running around, being a tyrant, making me feel weird. Anyway, Jamie's a great guy. He just came back into the room. So, but thanks anyone who is listening over the airwaves, even though you can't chat live anymore. If you're listening via podcast, thank you as well. Thanks to all the people who've been leaving the lovely reviews lately. Thanks so much. We got some Dust shirts headed your way. Giving away a few of those. So, if you, we'll extend that little, I don't know if it's a contest, but just a promo. If you leave us a review that tickles my fancy for one reason or another, I'll send you a very, very limited edition. I'm not going to say it's a Zombie Dust shirt, because it's not. It could be. It isn't. It isn't, because that would certainly get me a C&D. So
Those
it's not.
cost money.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll get you a shirt that says Dust and Dust. The post-apocalyptic currency of preference for the Cenotaph Twins, as they're now called formally. They're no longer the Dust Brothers. They're the Cenotaph Twins, I've heard. Yeah. But for everyone in the room who's looking at me like I'm crazy, I'll just move along. And get to introducing my guests. But before I do that, I want to say a few things. First, if you're listening for the first time, I'd like to give a little idea of what this show is about, the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Essentially, what I try to do is recreate some of what is my favorite thing about being part of the beer industry, and that's sitting around a table or at a bar or wherever with people who have made beer a part of their life, whether it's making beer or facilitating beer or selling beer or marketing beer or educating people about beer or whatever. I mean, I don't know where you would fit Edmar, or just, ranting about beer, and getting them in a room together and just kind of sitting and talking about things that are a part of our lives while having a beer or two. Just kind of sitting at a bar and talking to knowledgeable people and having a good time. I really enjoy doing that, and that's what I try to recreate with this show, the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. And with that, I will introduce my guests, but as I do that, I must mention that their opinions are their own and nobody else's, no other entity's opinion that they may or may not be affiliated with, such as What would be an entity that they would not speak for, Tim, if you had to pick one? It started with an L and ended with an N and was a radio station.
Maybe WLPN.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lumpin' Radio.
was
Yeah,
gonna say-
definitely don't speak for Lumpin'
That
Radio.
Say
starts with a
Disney.
W.
Yeah, nor them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts with a W, Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know what you mean.
Lumpin' Radio.
Yeah.
You know. Are you, now that producer Jamie is not in the room, are you taking up his ball busting duties for him?
I'll probably take a seat
Thank
in a
you.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you sit down? That yellow little seat of yours. So we introduce the guests in order of seniority. Seniority being how many times they've been on the show. The only really seniority that I care about. So that would be you, Tim, Mr. Tim.
Me? Finally?
Lang. Yes, you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been the last for so long.
Yeah. Well, last to first. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
I think you're back on track. You're not quite as off. Seems like you're back on the show now.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. We'll
said-
see. I mean, Jamie is literally out of the room. He'll come back in and rattle me.
Throw
and,
us all off.
Yeah, just start barging in and saying stuff on mic or off mic and yelling at me and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Which is honestly in the tradition of Mr. Logan Bay, what he should be doing, you know, busting balls and doing stuff like that, being an all-around jerk. But enough about me. How are you? What's new with you, man?
I'm all right. We had a good trip out to New York recently and brewed a beer with KCBC. Miguel, the beer trekker, hooked us up and
Oh, nice. That's how you guys got...
made some new friends and linked up with these guys. Tony's here today and had a good mash tun release party also at their brewery and
Oh, cool.
made a cool beer. We brought some here. I'm sure we'll taste it.
Yeah,
And,
I'm trying it right now.
yeah. So yeah, just been traveling a little bit. Had a really good time in New York. Another quick trip per usual there, but it was great. Went to Ivan Ramen, had an awesome meal. They have awesome beers there, and it's a really good experience. They're awesome
Yeah.
hosts, and had a good time.
Very cool.
We made a delicious beer and did a cool radio show also over at Roberta's. Yeah,
Oh, a
a
different...
yeah.
Oh, you didn't
Yeah.
tell me
There's
that.
other people that have beer radio shows.
You didn't
Chris.
tell me that.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me you were doing that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That's fine.
They were in a shipping container
Hmm.
overlooking a patio for a pizza joint, so little different vibe, but yeah.
Would you say it was better than this one?
I didn't say anything, but we had a good time.
Right, but it definitely wasn't worse. It was either the same or better. You have to make, yeah.
We had a good time.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thanks anyway, I
Yeah.
guess, for slumming it.
I'm
here.
glad to be here, though.
Yeah. Well, Bridgeport is the community of the future.
It sure is.
That's I, remind you of that.
Yeah.
My next guest is Ms. Shana Solarte of the Cicerone Certification Program. Shana, what's up with you?
Hey, what's up?
What's new?
Very little,
Very little.
in the best way.
Oh, okay.
I'm staying in town for the summer and drinking beer and in the sun. Definitely only in legal places to drink beer outdoors.
Yes, of course.
Only, strictly. And
And so you're not globe trekking like Pat and Ray do,
No,
going to
no,
foreign
I'm-
countries and taking all these amazing photos of exotic places and stuff.
no, if you look at my Instagram, you will see none of that.
Okay. You'll just see, sandwiches. You're not even that. I mean, you're not even the sandwich person. That's John over at
yeah.
Cicerone
He's all on the burgers and stuff.
and what he's making at home and stuff like that. Yeah.
I just like fry eggs in my kitchen.
And don't take pictures.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And that's all you're doing. Have you been to anything interesting with Cicerone? Give me something. Come on.
Man, I
Or
don't,
Dovetail. You still at
I
Dovetail?
don't do cool, fun things. I am
Okay.
still at Dovetail.
All right.
Things are great at Dovetail.
Yeah. I had the Creek and the Framboise that you guys just released at Dovetail. Oof.
I also had that like an hour ago.
Very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
You
Have
want to
to
get
agree.
real crazy. You go in and ask for a Freak Boys,
Oh.
Oh.
half
What's-
Creek, half Framboise.
Freak Boys. So it's not
Freak
freak,
Boys.
not
It's a
freak,
freak.
not Freak Bois. Freak Boys is way better.
Freak Boysy.
That's why it's Freak Boys.
Boysy.
Freak Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to the Freak Boys.
All right. Nice. Get that with a little Underberg chaser.
Always.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for making it down
Thank you for having
on
me.
this balmy Chicago summer day.
Yeah, it's toasty.
Yeah. And then now we've got 2 first-time guests, so I'll just go randomly.
Well, wait. Tony beat me at rock paper scissors, so if you could do him first.
Well, really, I mean,
only
you're
fair.
supposed to not talk until
Oh,
you're
sorry,
introduced, but, whatever.
Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, it's okay. I was joking. So, Kenny, why don't you go
Oh,
first?
sure.
You already
Sorry.
have.
Great.
And the way it
Jumping
goes
in.
is first-time guests introduce themselves. Why don't you tell everyone who you are in the world of beer? And,
Sure.
yeah.
My name is Kenny Gould, Kenny G, if you're into that sort of thing.
Who isn't?
I'm the founder of a magazine called Hop Culture at Hop Culture Mag on Instagram. I am a contributor for Forbes, and I like to party.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's me.
Can you talk about hop culture a little bit?
Sure. We are a craft beer magazine that started in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shout out to the Steel City, City of Champions. Moved to New York, New York. We were there for about 2 years, and we are just in the process of moving back to Pittsburgh, which is very exciting. We're here in town this weekend to throw a craft beer festival, Juicy Brews Art Gallery, at none other than Mars Community Brewing.
Nice.
You
So that's why, Tim. Now I see what you did.
see what Tim did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, full circle.
Brought
Yeah.
it all together.
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
a smart man.
Cool. So it's an art gallery and
Craft beer
craft beer
festival.
fest. I think I probably get the craft beer fest part. How can you talk about the art gallery?
Yeah, we throw craft beer festivals all across the country, and we pick different themes for each festival. And being that we were coming to Mars with its arts focus and support of the arts, Mars actually created our favorite can of 2018 with Collective Arts last year.
Yeah.
That Cloudy Boys. Shout out to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so being that we were coming to Chicago and coming to Mars, we thought an arts theme might be fun. So we have a lot
What
of...
other themes have you done?
We've done Halloween. We had 1,000 people in costume. That was a blast. We've done Island Getaway in Portland, Maine. We did a little 420 theme in Oakland, California
Okay.
on 420. You
Got it.
You may have guessed. Yeah, we got some fun ones coming up. We got actually a women's theme, the largest celebration of women in craft beer, all female brewers in
That's cool.
Brooklyn coming up in August. And then, yeah, some fun stuff coming up for the end of the
Cool.
year.
When's the one in Brooklyn?
August 10th.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
See you there. You're invited. I'll get you a ticket, Chris.
Thanks. That's definitely the most difficult thing to come across. That's the biggest barrier, I guess, for me getting there. But cool.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
getting
go.
a ticket? Yeah,
Yeah, getting the ticket.
Yeah.
The plane is easy.
Yeah, sorry.
But the
I'm
free
sharing a bed
hotel,
already. Or I would,
yeah,
I would
Airbnbs
offer.
are really
Yeah.
cheap in Brooklyn, I hear.
Super, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think Tony's from Brooklyn, right?
You can share a room with my kids.
Yeah.
oh,
That's
perfect.
perfect.
Which might be an interesting segue.
Yeah. Well, I love that Tony trusts me enough to share a bedroom with his children. I think it says something about Tony. But anyway, I don't want to speak for him because he's being introduced for the first time, so he has to speak for himself. Tony, could you tell everyone who you
Hey,
are?
I'm Tony Bellis. I'm one of the co-founders of Kings County Brewers Collective. We're a brewery in Brooklyn, New York. Been around. We're coming up on our 3-year anniversary. And
Congrats.
Yeah. So
What's in the name? The Kings County Brewers Club.
Well, me and my partners Pete and Zach, we kind of met through the New York City beer scene, working in breweries, and all trying to start breweries of our own in New York City. And much like trying to start a brewery in a city like Chicago, it's very expensive and cost prohibitive. And we kind of met each other and really liked each other's philosophy around brewing and kind of what we wanted to do with the business, and we came up with this idea of let's join forces, Voltron style, and
what appendage are you?
I'm the left toe or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very small,
A lot of stability.
But important.
Yeah,
That's super
I mean,
important.
Voltron's going to fall over if you don't have a
Hard
left toe.
to stand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so our idea was just really focus on the trying to kind of highlight what's a brewery like when you have three different people that are very different in their brewing philosophies, and how do you highlight what each person likes to do, and then the idea of just our collective collaboration with other people, and that's kind of where art falls in with us, so incorporating art and beer and music, and and making it this cool thing that's just a lot of people working together and doing cool projects and stuff. And I guess that's somewhat why we're here this weekend and doing this great fest with Hop Culture and
Nice.
Mars and whatnot. Yeah.
Have you been to Chicago before?
Yeah, I'm a Minneapolis boy that moved to New York in 2001. So, I've been out of the Midwest for a while, but I used to come to Chicago a lot and come down here for hardcore shows and bands that were skipping over Minneapolis and St. Paul. We'd hop in a car and drive down and sleep in closets and that kind of stuff.
Right, in other people's children's bedrooms.
Yeah. That's where I got the idea from.
Right.
Perfect
Got it. Okay. And this is the first time your beer has ever been in Chicago.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I think we're going to be getting a little bit of your beer. I heard. I was very excited to hear.
Yeah, we kind of did decent drop of some beer, and took a little work to get it out here, but I'm pretty stoked to be representing New York City in the Midwest. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're out here a little early. When did you get into Chicago?
I came in yesterday and just hanging out, running around, drinking beer, visiting friends that breweries that I don't get to see and that kind of stuff.
Did you any breweries that you enjoyed?
Yeah, I came in yesterday, went down to Three Floyds and hung out with Todd and Chris for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, guys I've met through other beer festivals and music stuff
Sure,
and
sure.
whatnot, so, and tomorrow I'm going to spend the day drinking my way through your fine city.
Cool. All right, then.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you enjoy drinking, Tim?
In general or lately or
Yeah, lately. Or in general.
what did
But
I
lately.
have? We had a really good Budweiser sort of lager from the guys up at Bellwoods. Up in good old Canada.
Nice.
Yeah, also went up. God, I haven't been on here in a while.
Yeah.
Went up to do a beer at Collective Arts.
And did you do a beer at Bellwood as well?
No, I wish. Just stopped in there and had some delicious food and beers. But also when we were in New York, they had that lager on tap at Ivan. It's just a really nice, beautiful, well-done beer. Really
That's a great beer.
They
It's
make
so
great
good.
beer. Are you
Yeah.
talking about
About
What is
Bellwood's
it? Bellweiser?
something like that. Yeah, I forget
They
the
make
name.
awesome
It
beer
was-
and have
yeah.
for quite a while.
Yeah, I love those
They
guys.
do a great job.
Yeah, I'm on the light beers now. Just really light acid, light low ABV. Also went down to St. Louis and did the Second Shift Festival. And
Yeah.
Side Project had a really awesome table beer. Definitely one of the favorite beers I've ever had. Just 2.5%. Just again,
Yeah, they bottled that.
just perfect acid body.
just had some.
Everything about it was really, really well done. Been thinking about that beer a lot lately.
Very cool.
and trying how to make that.
Right.
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah,
That's still
it's
got
just-
some, something there.
Drink it all day. Yep.
Now, speaking of a light, refreshing beverage, you brought something here with you today, right?
Yeah, I did. I think it's hopefully we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but some delicious spiked seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Have you ever had a spiked seltzer before?
I've had a few. Some of them are not very great.
I will say, now, there's a whole cooler of beer. Producer Jamie, I have my issues with Producer Jamie. Everyone knows
Already.
that.
Yep.
Everyone knows that. I don't have to go into them again. I'll go into a few anyway. But he's very rude. And,
Aggressive.
frankly, he's aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I've had better producers. That's all I'm going to say,
Yep.
Hey, I knew he was going to do something like that. Anyway, I will say this about him. At least he's drinking beer.
Yeah.
I'm also drinking beer. We're the only two people drinking beer.
True.
Everyone else,
Hey, I was trying to
you
not
brought
be
in
rude.
a 6-pack, and there are 4 seltzers. So there you go.
Yeah.
Listen, I was told we were going to discuss this, so I consider this research.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to excuse my behavior. It's pretty good.
You don't need to excuse your behavior. Live your life, Kenny.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's really supportive.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is the best one I've had.
Yeah, we did do a lot about seltzer last time. We'll talk about it a little bit more this time, too.
Yeah. Should we talk about the beer we brought, maybe, that Tony and I made in New York?
It's probably a better.
Sure. Is that
more relevant?
Probably a better conversation.
Probably better for both of us,
I'd
maybe.
like to hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we brewed it's something you guys should talk about, I guess. Something that they've sort of done
You talk
before.
about it too. Yeah.
But yeah, they've done just dry hop only beers, and it's something that I just didn't really think was going to produce the flavor that it does, and the even the bitterness. Obviously,
right.
you gotta dry hop the hell out of it, but
I've heard you do
Yeah.
get some bittering and some kind of conversion
Yeah.
from just dry hopping, but
you're not getting the hot side isomerization and some of the oil content, but it's very, very delicious.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yeah, we did a dry hop only pale ale here. I guess it ended up being an IPA, but
Yeah, I mean it's 5.5%.
I don't know. What is it?
Crushable, easy drinking. Yeah, dry hopped with Mosaic, Citra, Amarillo, Simcoe, Sapphire.
never heard of them.
Yeah, just all the bad hops. Yeah, we've kind of been messing around with just these dry hop only. We're in this beer in particular, like we're using the Voskvik.
Yep.
It's like a Norwegian
Yep.
strain.
Get it from Omega.
Yep,
The
Omega
Chicago,
used, yeah, give
Chicago
a
boys.
Shout out to my boy Pete Mallon, who's working over there, who I used to brew with in New York City. And
Cool.
He's over at Omega now. Yeah, it's cool. Like we I think the experiment of doing dry hop only beers with these strains where we're fermenting at a really high temperature is really cool. I think just the hop utilization and just like the flavor and aroma that's coming out when you're fermenting at 85 degrees is
Right.
it's just a different game. It's really cool.
And super fast, right?
Yep, super fast. Funny thing is, I was talking with somebody the other night about it. We haven't really speeded up our process much. We're getting through primary fermentation pretty fast, but then, we still,
Can't say that.
we're dry hopping things very heavily.
Yeah.
We're
Hopping it.
hopping it. Yeah.
And you
So-
use we lost everything, so we'll go back and you're using all Summit and Fuggle. All right, moving on.
crystal. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
little crystal.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Shayna or Kenny, anything that
on that note,
what?
we should probably pause to remind people of who's paying for this station, because it is the half-hour mark.
All
And
right.
then after
Time's flying.
And then after that, we can come back and remind people of the words they cannot say on the air.
We'll say that in the middle. I have a feeling you'll say them very loudly and with veins bulging out of your forehead. So while you're doing that, you guys can listen to some other underwriting and programming, and then we'll be back with more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I am with my guests, Tony, Kenny, Tim, and Shayna, and also producer Jamie. And we're still trying to get through the beers that we've had lately that we've been enjoying. Kenny, anything for you? Or Shayna, anything for you? Okay, well, wow, nothing that you've had that you've enjoyed lately. Shayna, I'm not getting a good feeling about you in this episode. You've had nothing and done nothing.
I was waiting for Kenny.
Well, I was being polite.
way too much
it's my
politeness in
first
this
time
room.
Yeah,
here.
Kenny, I'm gonna have to go with you because I think it's pretty obvious. Shayna has to think of something
all
to
right,
say.
hit me. What do you need?
Have you any beer that you've either had or that you're looking forward to having, maybe this weekend? If I want to just make it really easy for you to come up with something.
That's a layup.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Well, I'm a big fan of Dancing Gnome in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Being from Pittsburgh and knowing Andrew Witchy, the founder, pretty well. I think they do a really nice job, and I'm excited always to drink Pittsburgh beer out of Pittsburgh. So
Nice.
that's always a treat for me.
Yeah, I was
So,
excited to see that they were coming in. It's cool that you guys have a couple breweries that either never or hardly ever make their way
Yep.
into Chicago. So that's kind of cool. KCBC being one of them, and Dancing Gnome being another, and
Yep.
Forest in Maine, one of my
Forest in Maine.
favorite. First time they were ever served in Chicago at the Beer Temple for my anniversary
way.
party. Yeah, you know,
Nice.
no big
big Welsh.
deal.
Humble
Humble brag.
No
Yep.
big deal. They
Yep.
just brought an exquisite little bitter. That's great. Still have to get a cask someday,
Tasty.
but
Shout out to Dan. His flight was canceled. He was supposed to be here tonight
he
with
was,
us.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
yeah, he's doing another podcast in a shipping container. I heard.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
cool with the pizza.
I heard it's
Probably
much
a pizza in
cooler.
his
Yeah,
mouth.
much better pizza there. I
Yeah.
think.
But
Wow.
he'll be here tomorrow at some point, hopefully filling barrels with me.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna do a little saison.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do something English. Come on.
Nah, too late. We got spelt.
I do like.
Too late. We got spelt.
Too
It's
late.
called Maris Otter. Just go make another beer. Make it bitter. That's cool. They do an awesome saison as well. That's exciting. That's very exciting. So let's move on. And all this is all coming into focus now for me because I'm looking at my outline, and lo and behold, the first topic is beer fests. Okay, I see.
I know a thing or two about.
Yeah.
that.
Should I go?
Yeah, no, I think you
Hey,
could.
it was nice
I
to meet
honestly
you,
do
Shayna.
want. I think you have will have a lot of good insight about this. You can just, as someone who does nothing and is interested in nothing, what would make you interested, perhaps? But no, honestly, so I think nowadays, like the rest of the craft beer scene, festivals are, I don't know if they're becoming like stratified, but they're definitely branching out. There are definitely, not all beer fests are created equal. And we've talked about this at length on the show before, but it'd be interesting, especially with you here, Kenny, to talk about it a little bit more because, I mean, there's definitely, well, I think they used to kind of be back in the day, like not, I don't know how you want to call it, like nonprofits or like brewers guilds or homebrew clubs would like sponsor,
Sure.
or sometimes even bars would kind of put together beer fests, and then you also have like private companies who are doing them. I assume would kind of be like you guys, and then you also, I think the big change has been the brewery sponsored or the brewery created hosted beer fests. So I just wanted to see, I don't know, get kind of everyone's take. I guess we should start with Kenny about
Sure.
what the world of beer fests, what the landscape currently looks like.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the one category I think maybe missing is sort of the big distributor fest. Maybe a fourth category, but
Like, what would that look like? What are those like?
just, a distributor in a given city has a lot of it's what you'd see at your, local big venue or your local convention center where it's a bunch of volunteers pouring the beer and somebody's chanting USA and kicking over a trash can and throwing up on someone else's shoes and
Where's that party? I want to go.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take you there, Tom.
Parking lot at the beer temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I joke, but
But you
it's
don't.
just it's just different. It's just different, It's a different experience. But Chris, I think you asked a really interesting question, and we sort of passed over it, maybe in jest. But you said you asked what would make you be interested in a beer festival. What would make somebody who doesn't like to do anything interested in a beer festival? And that's a question I actually end up asking a lot, and I talk to a lot of people about it because at the end of the day, if beer festivals aren't serving the community, then why are you throwing them? If you're not appealing to a demographic or you're not appealing to a certain segment of the craft beer drinking populace, what are you doing?
And it's interesting you should say that, because that was another type of fest that it's like almost like a subset. It's because sometimes you go to festivals and it's I don't want to say just flagships, but it's flagships, seasonals, and kind of offerings that people in attendance can go and then seek out elsewhere, outside of festival environment. And those in certain situations can be extremely enjoyable and helpful for people in attendance. But then there's other types of beer drinkers who would go to that fest and feel like they completely just did not get what they were looking to get. And I had heard about some festivals where people where brewers here were going down to the south side. I think they were maybe going to maybe it was Hyde Park or something like that, and throwing some beer fests in some in some neighborhoods that maybe don't get as much attention from the craft beer community here in Chicago. And they weren't pouring anything whaley like you insist on drinking, Tim, only like Bon and Viv. But people were there and really excited, and the place was packed, and people were really excited. And then the cool thing was, what they discovered there, they could then go to a store, presumably, or to a craft beer bar and have. So you were kind of gaining customers that way. So I used to kind of, as a fest goer, just kind of like not even really think about those types of fests. But the more I'm in the industry and the more I see it grow, I do really see value in that model sometimes. Other times I think it's just kind of exploitative, but where they're just like, oh, you're just in it to make a buck, and you're asking for all the kegs to be donated, and then you're just like selling it off to as many people as you possibly can and trying to make as much money as possible. So I don't know, I guess there's kind of that middle ground. I don't know, Shayna, what gets you out the door for a beer fest?
I mean, I think at this point I'm not super drawn to beer fests, because if you've been to one, you've been to almost all of them. They're all so similar. And that's regardless of the offering. It's like the setting is either in some large building and you just sort of work your way around the perimeter until you're
like
tired of it.
FOBAB type stuff here?
Or like
almost like a conference setting, or
right. Or it's like it's in
convention.
a park and you're just outside getting drunk and getting sunburnt. Like I can do that for a lot cheaper.
So you don't like, for example, the one that I always go to, Great Taste, does nothing for you up in Madison?
My next point is that when it's sort of like a novel setting, like Great Taste, when do I go to Madison? I hardly ever go to Madison, unfortunately. So like that appeals to me. It's a beautiful setting on the water. Since it draws so many people from outside of Madison to this one place, you're going to see people you don't see frequently. You're going to be in a town that you don't visit frequently. I mean, Madison rules, so that's cool too. Mm-hmm. But I think that, like, for me as sort of a jaded festival goer after years and years of going to fests, I want there to be some draw beyond it's a beer fest.
Mm-hmm. You want there to be something else there?
Yeah, so like the setting is really unique, or the list is very well curated. One of the most fun fests I've been to in the last, year or two was St. Louis at Urban Chestnut. They had Historic Lager Fest. And
whoa, that is going deep.
Sweet.
it was amazing.
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
Historic Lager Fest.
So there were breweries from all over the U.S. there that a lot of them just plucked out some old lager recipes and brewed like pre-prohibition whatever. We saw this on a scroll and brewed it or whatever.
That you're talking about Not Your Father's Root Beer, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, specifically that.
Yeah, because that was found on a scroll.
Yeah.
If you remember the story,
in
the
the old,
origin
It was in
story.
a bottle, right?
No, it was
under
literally a
mattress.
scroll.
Oh.
Is what he said. He found the recipe to Not Your Father's Root Beer on a scroll that his
Like in the
great
attic or
grandfather. Yeah.
something.
I thought I
Yeah.
was continuing the joke, but you're
No,
you're
I'm-
serious. Yeah.
This is all
This
true.
is where this is truth and comedy right here. That is the truth. And then that was quickly exposed to be absolute. Well, I don't want to get the dump button.
Yeah.
So
Let's say hogwash.
yeah,
Hogwash.
hogwash. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like a setting like that, the beer list was so specifically curated to be an experience and not just like, come here, drink beer, hang out.
Yeah.
They had seminars. It was
Oh,
really
wow.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. How about you, Tony and or Tim? What kind of, as someone who's going to come halfway or a third of the way across the country to take up 3 or 4 days of your time to go to a fest, why do you choose one over another?
I mean, I think it is doing something that is different. I mean, I think something it's either curated, beer wise or just kind of theme wise. I mean, I think I think Kenny and the Hop Culture crew have done a cool job of just like curating these kind of themed events. Like, we're into art, we're into beer. Like, I love the fact that they're bringing in breweries that also have a focus on their art and packaging and that kind of stuff. And like, that's really cool for us because that just lets us like focus and highlight something else that we really love and is a part of us as a brewery. I think it's it's something that's interesting and different is really fun. Now, going back to what you were saying, like, since starting a brewery 3 years ago, I think before we opened the brewery, I kind of had my jaded, the big beer festival in a stadium kind of thing, and having
Which they literally do.
They do.
There's the Untapped Fest, I
mean,
think, infamously, most recently, yeah.
Yeah, in New York City, it's like, I mean, there's things in Yankee Stadium and stuff, and it used to be that, they would ask you to donate beer, and I think the market's definitely changed. Like, I haven't been asked to donate beer in a long time. Like, people know the value of buying beer from a craft brewery, and, they'll buy it for the price that you're self-distributing at, even though it's, a lot more expensive than maybe what somebody else is selling it for. And I love that, if done right, it does get a different audience. There's a lot of different types of people that are drinking craft beer. The people who are going to come on Saturday, to the fest here are very different than the person who may want to go to a more casual beer festival where they can then leave and go to their local package store and find those same beers, and I think that done right, there's totally a market for both of them. It's a different beer drinker and it's a different, focus and I think there's people doing both types of festivals really well, and then adding on to like, I love that, breweries are now getting into the game and doing it. And there's a different focus on what does a brewery want to get out of a festival? It might not necessarily be that they're trying to make a profit off of it. They're trying to do something that's just straight up cool for them and their friends and the beers that they like and the people they like. And, I think there's a place for all of it as long as there's, respect for the beer, respect for the people drinking it. Don't be asking people to, do things that, compromise their business. I mean, this is a business, and it's, and these are customers that spend really good money to do this. Beer festival is expensive, even, doesn't matter what venue it's in, you're asking people to shell out a lot of money, and it's an expensive day, and you should treat them with respect and make sure it's a cool thing that's worth their while going to.
So this is another question for Tim and Tony, and anyone else I guess can pile in, but primarily for you two. So what is the reason that you guys would send beer to a place where you have not historically had any footprint in? And I'm thinking, Tim, like last year we went to the Oedipus Fest in
Beautiful Amsterdam.
Why would anyone want to go to Amsterdam? And
really, I don't know.
Yeah, no, but honestly, like, why? I mean, and if it is just because I felt like going to Amsterdam, I mean, that's legit. That's literally why I went with you guys. But I didn't have to work it. Yeah. But yeah, like, why would you go to a fest where you're not, you've never had beer before and don't maybe have immediate goals to do it, or maybe you did have immediate goals.
I just
to
wanted to
start
run
doing
away
it.
from the brewery for a week, Chris.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
and get paid.
I need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to use PTO.
No.
I don't need to break that bad.
No, not at all. It's business, Chris.
Yeah.
But no, we have friends over there, and obviously Amsterdam's awesome. Edmar has some history there, and we have fantasies of trying to set up something over there, whether it's contract brewing or whatever it is, but a reason for us to be over there a little more. And that was just
beyond that specific one, just generally why.
That was a really awesome special festival. That was
amazing.
That was so unique. And there's a guy that went into the wharf that morning and picked oysters.
Best oysters of my life.
Had a barrel there, smoking them with whatever wood, and just making incredible things for $1 each or something. It's just unbelievable stuff there. So it was awesome food, awesome music. They party. It was 10 hours, I think, for 2 days straight. Mm-hmm. I think the second day was 11 or 12 hours. They were kind enough to give us a 4-hour volunteer. But they wanted, all the brewers to be there, which I think is another cool thing. If nothing else, it's great for us to actually talk to the people that are making the beers instead of just reps and whatever else.
Yeah.
So it's a networking thing for us. And we met a lot of cool people from around the world. And we get to try a lot of really awesome beer, too. So I think everybody with that, too, if the brewers are there, they're all bringing some of their best stuff. Everybody wants to impress each other and, just share some of their best beers. For us, it wasn't really a business thing. It was more of just a networking and a hangout at a really cool festival that's on an awesome kind of co-op shared grounds where a bunch of people live and work and, have a crazy garden and a crazy restaurant that was in a soccer hall over on the property. And, just a really cool place. It had a place, had rooms for us to sleep in. And, during my break, I walked over and took a nap in my room and came back refreshed for another 8 hours of the festival. And, that was something that was one of a kind festival.
And then we were carrying on one night. I think we were playing, blasting the Yellow River Boys one night. And then we realized that in the middle of the night, someone from
3 a.m.
Ta'ul had been sleeping in another room in the unit.
It's one way to meet people.
Yeah, we're like, oh, we found out the next morning when the door was open. We're like, oh, someone was in there. Yeah.
Well.
But how about you, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, kind of same answer. I mean, I think just the fact that I feel so lucky to be working in an industry where this kind of thing exists. I mean, there's very few industries in the world where people are so collaborative and so, like to work together that, we travel across the world and do these things and collaborate on beers and talk about recipes and share our, quote unquote secrets, so, from that standpoint, it's a fun thing to be able to just talk with these people that you look up to because you love what they make, and some of them are doing the same thing for they love what you're making, and so I think just from a selfish standpoint,
sure.
it's fun and it's kind of an honor and it's cool, but then same thing Tim's saying, I mean, we don't totally know the trajectory of our business, and we're looking at how do we grow? In this, United States, we're pushing 8,000 craft breweries, and then you look at this globally, and what do we become, and how do we want to grow, and what are the markets you want to get into, and how do people respond to your beer, and it's actually
maybe a way to dip your toe.
100%. I mean, I was in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago, and it was it's really cool to go drink beer in another market that is not that far from where you're making beer, but the scene's different, and you go into a tap room and the lineup looks different than, what it looks like in New York City. And so it's cool to, come to a city like Chicago and be like, what are people in drinking, and it's like, oh, cool. They're crushing Pilsner like we like to make, and, maybe we should, maybe we want to go, treat them to more pills that we make, or IPA or whatever it is. So,
I would say, as somebody who invites, 20 to 30 breweries a a month to a different city to come to
Yeah.
a festival.
I was saving you for last for a reason.
Actually, this one on Saturday will be number 18 for us
Wow.
in the
Congrats.
last 2 years. Thank you.
Whoa.
I'm I'm excited. It's a crazy number, but I think that there are definitely people who come to our events to test a market or to get their beer into a market, or they use it as an excuse to get out to a city because we put them up typically and pay for the product and shipping and help them with distro and stuff. But there are people who use it to test the market, but I think that largely when we're doing these things, we're focused on creating experiences for not just the consumers, but also the brewers. One of the things that is not so great about maybe running a brewer or working in a brewery is that you're probably not making the salary that you're going to make if you take a coding job or you go be a consultant somewhere or you go be an accountant somewhere. One of the things you get with the job is that you are in a really supportive industry filled with like-minded people on the whole who are really interested in sharing experiences and doing really cool things with each other. I think of Mikkeller Copenhagen as one of the best festivals in the world. And when you talk to brewers, all of them tell you the same thing. Oh, Mikkeller Copenhagen, Mikkeller Copenhagen.
And kind of like the template for a lot of the modern, I would say, like brewery run festivals. I'm not saying only those, but when I go to those, they seem to be
Totally.
very much inspired by the Copenhagen beer celebration.
Totally.
Yeah.
And what do they do differently? Sure, they have an incredible brewery list. Their operations are all on point. You know, you're getting into the venue quickly. The beer is pouring from the taps. Everything's already set up. But what else do they offer? There's a tattooist there. They have all types of crazy events around the city for people, brewers and drinkers alike, to experience while they're in town. It is a one-of-a-kind experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. Whereas you could go to a big festival in Charlotte, and you could go to a big festival in, San Francisco, and they might be a similar experience. You're going to go, you're going to get drunk, you're going to have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the experience you're looking for, it's awesome. I think that what hop culture is focused on, and I think what Mikkeller is focused on, and what a lot of the breweries are focused on now, is creating experiences for both drinkers and brewers that are singularly unique and special. And Tim, like you were talking about, going to Amsterdam and sharing this experience with the other people that you were with, that's something that you remember. That's something that makes your life interesting and unique. I think that's one of the great benefits to being in this industry, is that we have so many opportunities for that. And I think that's what we as an organization are trying to perpetuate. And I think that's what a lot of the breweries who are throwing these types of events are really trying to create.
So let me ask you one more thing. Oh, but before I do, I apologize for people who might hear my phone buzzing, and for people in the room who see me looking at my phone. My cousin, who's never been in Chicago ever before, just had his flight canceled and may need to find a way to my house to stay here. So I'm just making sure that he's not like in a panic trying to text me. So anyway, Justin, I'm sorry, man.
Cousin Justin.
Cousin
Jay.
Justin.
You'll be all right, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
You'll
dude.
be all right.
But I did want to ask you, Kenny. So, what to you makes a bad festival? And I mean that in, what are you trying to make sure that you don't do, or you don't do in your festivals?
Yeah.
Like, what are the things that really you try to avoid, like the base level stuff that is just like you gotta take care of this stuff? What are the no-nos?
Yeah, I was thinking about this on the plane today, and I don't know totally where to draw the line in terms of what I can say and what I can't say. Just like you would
Just
ask.
say it.
All right, I'll say it. Well, all right, I'll say this. You would ask a brewer, how do you make this really awesome beer that you're making?
Oh,
And
I
they'll
see
tell
what
you
you're
the
saying.
ingredients, but they won't tell you the percentages.
Right.
So I think just
saying
like that,
you don't have to give me the herbs and
there's a
spices,
sauce. There's
you
a
know.
sauce.
But what are the things that like make for a bad festival?
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
That you
Sure. I would say you're not paying attention to the brewer experience. You're only focused on the consumer. But again, this is even tough because there's a whole ton of festivals out there that people love where the brewery has no presence there. You're just coming to get smashed, and that's the time you're having, and it is an absolute blast because that's what you're trying to do. I would say for us, though, if we didn't focus on the brewer experience, we wouldn't be in the business that we're in. I would say if we didn't talk to the consumer, I regularly call people who come to our festivals. I email them first to set up a time to chat, but I ask for a time to chat, and I ask people who come to our events, what they like and what they don't like. And after 18 events, we have a pretty good idea of what people are into, and it is constantly changing. So it's a constant conversation. I would say, your basics are you have to have ice. The beer has to be poured. You got to get people into the door on time. There are some logistical basics that are so integral to running any type of an event.
that don't get done more often than you may think, especially getting people in on time.
Oh,
that's a big
big.
one.
That's a big one. Yeah. And so, these are general things. And when I say them, it's probably like obviously, but you're right. They don't really get done all the time, but it all comes back to the basics. It's the fundamentals of running an event.
The blocking and tackling, so to speak,
That's it, baby.
Of getting it done. All right. Well, I have been talking with my guests, pardon me, Kenny, Tony, Tim, and Shayna. Too many guests, so I'm not going to do last names. I'll do it again at the end, That way I don't have to get them, get any wrong. But anyway, I already see we've got the metal show playlist coming. Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
So I hope you like Cookie Monster metal because you're going to be listening to about 10 minutes of it in just a few seconds. And
We should
then
also remind people if they're listening to WLPNLP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpen Radio, because that's a legal requirement.
all right. And then now that you've heard that, get ready to thrash around. And then we'll be back with more beer talk on the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. You guys enjoying that? Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm your host, Chris Quinn. I am joined by Tim Lang and Kenny Gould and Tony Bellis, is it?
Bellis, yeah.
Bellis,
Yeah.
and Tim Lang and Shayna Solarte, and producer Jamie is leaving.
Bye, James.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
See you this weekend, James.
But he's been replaced by producer Anna. And what did she immediately pick up out of the cooler? First thing, Bon and Viv seltzer. So
Good segue.
yeah, it is a good segue because we're gonna have a quick seltzer update. See you, Jamie. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Oh, never mind. Caught myself. Don't
didn't
have to
say it.
dump button it.
You didn't say it.
Producer
Yeah.
Jamie has good taste in music, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
So what I wanted to say was, so we had had that big seltzer discussion last week, or maybe it was the week before, something like that. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. But
Is this show just about seltzer now?
yeah, Seltzer Temple.
Cool.
My whole thing is I've got a Finsta now. That's all. Is that what it's called?
Can you do draft seltzer yet?
Oh yeah.
You should do a tap takeover.
You ever been to McDonald's? They do that. They do seltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, soda
Those
water.
are
and stuff.
soft seltzers, though.
Oh, I went to one of those
Salsa, yeah.
those Taco Bell cantinas the other night. It's got alcohol, and that's got seltzer written all over it.
You're right.
Yeah, they don't have it yet. I can't believe they haven't moved in on that.
When
So
is
here's the
Hard
thing.
Baja Blast coming out? Because
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I drank a hard frozen drink at the Taco Bell cantina.
good for you.
Okay.
Good for you.
It was,
I like a frozen
very
drink.
delicious. You know.
Yeah.
It's really hot out.
Always good with the fourth meal.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about how in Chicago, as in other places, it's just seltzers blowing up. It was for one of the distributors here, one of the big houses, like the Bud House here in, in the Miller House, I should say, and the big distributor on the north side. Their seltzer, just one brand, the 12-pack of White Claw variety pack was the fourth best selling SKU for a period, like a 4-week or 6-week period of time, and that was above Heineken, that was above High Life, that was obviously above every craft brewery. But over the 4th of July weekend, I had a very reliable source. I don't want to name them because I didn't specifically ask them if I could say this. It's always weird when you're just talking to somebody, but then you also kind of have this, you have this radio show podcast thing. So you don't want to blow up people's spots too much. And I don't think they would really care, but over 4th of July weekend, which is historically one of, if not the biggest beer selling weekend of the year, number one seller for the entire market was White Claw. Above Modelo, above Bud Light, above Miller, everything. White Claw, number one. Yeah, again, I haven't seen the numbers. This is just what I was told by somebody who I believe. So, now you're hearing it secondhand. So, take it with a grain of salt, folks. But my guess is it wasn't 20th. Maybe it was number 2.
Right.
You are an insider for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the stuff that I know but can't say would blow your mind, Tim.
The
Little
decline
splash hog over there. You know what I mean? What were you?
the decline of Western civilization is definitely in full effect. So, it's just another sign of,
It is sign of the times.
Yeah.
Sign of the times.
Yeah. Meaning like what?
Oh, I'm young. I think that I don't know.
I mean, it came on so fast.
It came on so fast. It came on so quickly.
To be that big, it explodes so fast, especially for people in the beer industry, I feel, who have been like, maybe not personally, but like as an industry, grinding it out for a while.
Sure. Okay, but
Maybe disheartening.
Tony, when was KCBC founded?
2016. We're just coming up on 3 years.
Right. And now
This was not even on our radar.
Okay, but you're now as someone who has lived in New York, people who know beer in New York know KCBC.
Yeah.
And 2016. I mean, go back to when was Other Half? When did they start?
Yeah, 14.
A few years before that.
14, 13,
I mean,
like that,
we want to talk about fast. I think we can talk about craft beer. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
the 2012 you had 2,000 breweries in the country, and now here we are, 2019, and there's almost 7,000.
But talk to me about the sign of the times. What did you mean by that? No, it's the sign of the times. You said. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I'm not trying to refute that. I think you're absolutely right. But I just
What I meant by that was that I think it is absolutely imperative to, especially in an industry like the food and drink industry where things are moving so quickly, you just have to be aware of that, and you have to be constantly vigilant and constantly watching kind of what's happening and constantly talking to people about what they're enjoying, and people aren't content to do the same thing over and over again and have the same experience over and over again. Like I think historically they may have been. You're not seeing the same type of brand loyalty in these products that you've seen from, let's say, my parents' generation, where my dad might drink
Well, sure.
Diet
I
Coke
mean, that's
for
where
years
it's
and
like
years
I'm
and
a
years.
I'm a high life man.
Sure.
I'm a this. I'm a that
Sure.
guy, and you still have those people, but no, obviously not.
Sure. So I
But
just
even
think,
categorically, it looks like people
Exactly.
are now drifting.
But I think that's why, yeah, I am in a privileged position of not being a beer producer, right? And so it's easy for me to say, yeah, watch the times, cover what's hot and make what people are asking for. And I don't make, beer. I don't make a single product, so it's easy for me to say, sure. But I don't know. It is interesting. It is interesting to see the craft brewers now that are pivoting toward
Totally.
low ABV or non-alcoholic beers or hard seltzers, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mr. 2.5% table beer over here,
Hit me.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe it's also
Like,
people
well,
are-
honestly, what do you really think about it, Tim? For real?
Well, people are into beverages now too. I think everybody wants natural wines, carbonated waters, whatever it is. Coffees. All these things I think are just kind of emerging, and I think there's a lot of technology and things that allow people to more affordably have these smaller facilities like we do, but still be pretty nimble and make a lot of different things, and just do some R&D and dump some stuff down the drain and learn some things, and try to dial in some products. And I think if I'm going to float down the river with some friends and some canoes tied together, I might want some hard seltzer here and there. Mix it up, maybe some light lagers and whatever else. I don't know, throw in a canned coffee and just.
To me,
have a day.
It seems like a difference between all the other beverages you just mentioned were almost, though, like I'm going to make up a word, premiumization of categories. Like you've got coffee, and then you've got these like third wave roasters. You've got water, and then bottled water, and now you have these mineral waters, and now LaCroix and stuff like that has just exploded, which I wouldn't say is a premium, but it's definitely elevated from turning on your tap. If you just want some water, or even some, like there's been club soda that you could have gotten forever, but it's a little
I
flavor.
have cherry lime water coming out of my tap, but
Right.
I
Well,
do live
aside-
in
You
I
live
do
in Brooklyn.
Rhode
You live
That's
in
just the
Brooklyn.
bathroom sink.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Only in the second bathroom. That's, no big whoop.
And natural wines are definitely just even taking a more hands-on, literal approach, or kind of a hands-off approach in a way to winemaking, and going back to less efficient ways of winemaking and stuff like that. And I think, and same with craft beer and spirits and cocktails, where it takes so much work to put one together and craft it. And to me, hard seltzer and FMBs don't go. They are kind of they are going in a different direction. I think they're obviously going in some similar direction, but they seem in some way different to me, and I don't know why. It's because I'm not young like Kenny G over here.
What up?
But you know what? I think the hard seltzer is like, you go to a bar in New York City. I mean, New York City is really a cocktail town. It's
Always have been.
It's a booze town. As much as we love selling craft beer there. It's a booze town. I think hard seltzer is like hitting that demographic that's drinking vodka sodas.
Yeah, which is what
Why would you not want to pick up a can of that if you're going to the club and drinking a vodka soda? Of course, you want hard seltzer in your fridge at home. Like, that just seems like a no-brainer. And
Totally. And I think, having drank a whole bunch of them, I think that is what a bunch of them are going for, are vodka sodas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Except
just
that I
trying to
like-
expand their consumer base.
Yeah, and I don't really, I haven't, I should probably be paying more attention to it as a brewery owner. Like
Number one SKU in Chicago.
right. But like, where are the drinkers coming from, and what have they shifted from? Are we losing, are we losing market share from craft beer to hard seltzer? I'm not totally sure. There's probably some, but like
I think you're probably right.
But I'd have a hard time believing that the guys, the people who are standing in line to pick up the newest canned double IPA, they're not shifting to hard seltzer. But
Oh, they're crushing it in line.
That's probably.
But no,
exactly
but that's
right.
that's a very legitimate point.
100%,
They're probably
yeah.
crushing it in line, or some of them might be, instead of a pale ale or a lager or something like that. So
Yeah.
it might be dipping into the
Yeah.
same thing. But
It must be.
yeah.
I'm not. I know the Brewers Association put out some stuff. Earlier in the year about it, and I mean, I think there's there's definitely got to be a dip into the overall beer market, and what percentage of it is dipping into the light lager market versus general beer versus craft beer. It's gonna it's gonna be a player, and you got to pay attention to it.
I'm guessing too there might be a lot of people that are moving away from all these sugar beverages. There's this kind of, I think,
Like sodas,
shift
you
from
mean?
sodas and things right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like cold fermented corn sugar?
There's no sugar added to that, Kenny.
Number 2 ingredient in this
Yeah.
absolutely incredible bone and beef
Very
spiked
juicy.
seltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
called
it's also
fermented,
newness, right? I think in the same thing in the craft brewing world right now, there's a lot of just rotating SKUs and rotating tap handles and just new. I think it's just also something. There's a huge boom right now with people wanting to try a new beverage. There's Crystal Pepsi came back and all these things, and I don't think it's really done anything for anybody. And now we got this whole new world, and it's a whole new product line, and everybody's excited to try something.
World.
A new fantastic point of view.
Oh, nice.
I think somebody said it like I think people are interested in beverages in general. Like, I love beverages. Like,
I like cold beverages.
One of my
Crush a beverage.
one of my favorite parts of
Let's
traveling.
drink 'em.
One of my favorite parts of traveling is drinking packaged beverages that I've never had before. It's just
Like weird.
I love it. Weird stuff.
Yeah, and
like-
pouches and boxes.
No, it's
and
awesome.
Kari
bags.
sweat.
So like, I mean, I think, and I think, we're, and moving away from soda and other things. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not drinking rum and Coke anymore. So what am I going to put my alcohol in?
Claws, bro.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just like that he is the G Love of the real world. He just
I'm the
loves
G-Love.
loves cold beverages.
I'm more the special sauce.
Chris,
of the
can I
room.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Thank you. What you mentioned that you
polite.
think I'm young. You think there's a
I've heard.
Yeah. You think there's a difference between craft beer and what's happening now with seltzer? And I'm curious, as somebody who is deeply involved in the industry, I mean, what is the difference?
Between craft beer and seltzer?
Oh, sure. I mean, I know I have an answer, sure, but you said
well,
it
we
feels
don't-
different to me, and I was curious why. Yeah.
Because I feel like the craft beer movement has been, I think people want to getting closer to the source, closer to the manufacturer, if not like geographically, but just like feeling like
Yeah.
they're closer to somebody's hands were on this. Same with everything, all those other beverages that G Love was talking about just a moment ago. But I think seltzer is nobody thinks that there is, a little old man who's devoted his life to making these special spiked seltzers.
Not yet.
Right. But then, but I also think more importantly, I think nobody thinks it, but more importantly, I don't think anybody's looking for that. So I could be wrong, but I don't think there's going to be a big premiumization market for seltzer. I don't think you're going to have these. I think people are going to try. They're going to hit the market. These like premium models of spiked seltzers.
There's going to be like the Voss water of spiked seltzer that
Sure.
comes in the fancy glass bottle, and it's all branded, but like.
But I don't think that that's going to work. And in fact, I think like even like the quality of the grapefruit, for example, in this Bon and Viv or Bon and Vive, I think it's Bon and Fizz, but whatever.
It's French.
But I don't think that really matters, which is also a trend I have noticed in some segments of craft beer just recently. That didn't used to be a thing. I mean, I defer to the pastry king of Chicago, Mr. Tim Lang over here. True thing, guys. He was crowned. He is actually the pastry king of Chicago.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Pastry beer king of Chicago. Wow. But would you say, Tim, with the exception of the beer that that caused you to be crowned, a lot of times people don't want. Oh, and Shayna here, she was there. Looked perfect, worked out perfectly.
Circle.
Yeah.
What was she?
I mean,
Sorry.
she was one of the judges who crowned him.
Crowned the king.
Yeah,
Wow.
the king.
Wow.
So I don't like if you had a strawberry beer stout, let's say, and one used strawberry quick powder and one used farm fresh, locally sourced strawberries, grass fed strawberries.
Yeah.
I think people would probably like the flavor more of the quick, and also sight unseen gravitate towards the quick first because they think it's cooler or kitschier or something. So I think it's that kind of mentality where people, maybe not in seltzer where they want it to be fake like they do in some of the pastry stout stuff. But I guess, Kenny, that's one thing that I don't. It's just it's a drift in a different direction where they're not trying to get closer to the source. They're just trying to me, it's more of just like an easy drinking alcohol delivery system. And I think what we're realizing is there's only so many people who care about having a drinking experience, which, you are only going to expand that market so much, and you can keep trying to, but just, there's certain things like soundboards. I'm looking at the soundboard, like you're never going to get me to care about soundboards that much. There's other people who are going to geek out about it, but even if everybody in the country knew about it, there's only going to be so many people who cared. And that's kind of, I think, what most people are like with alcoholic beverages. Like, only so many people are going to care. Right. They're like, yeah, I know the craft beer is better and that I should care about that, but I really don't. Give me a seltzer.
And Tony and I were talking about it earlier today at the brewery. White Claw, the cherry, reminds me a lot of Clearly Canadian. It was a seltzer. It was a LaCroix back in the day.
Dating ourselves.
Zero calorie that was at
Yes.
Walmart.
Totally
And it's
remember
that
that.
exact same cherry flavor to me, and I have this attachment now to that beverage because it reminds me of that thing from my childhood. To your point of the quick strawberry flavor or whatever, I think some people don't care what it is or where it comes from. There's also this nostalgia element to some of it.
Like when you used to watch your old man get blasted on hard seltzer and then go,
Some Zima.
beat your brother.
Yep.
I mean, are we just a bunch of nerds who have had our moment? Like what?
Right? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
the reality is hard seltzer is beer. It's classified as beer. You've got most states it's regulated as a beer product. It's fermented rice, it's fermented corn sugar, and it's labeled as a beer product.
Which frankly just
Which
surprises me that it's not a distilled
No,
product.
very-
It seems like it should be.
Because it's a very different regulation, and it dictates where you can sell it. All of a sudden, if
In
you
many
have a-
states anyway.
Most places, if it's a distilled product, you're not selling it in grocery stores or big box stores. Target's not carrying something that actually has gin in it or vodka in it. They're only carrying something that has, fermented products in it. So, it's just, it's a beer byproduct.
Well, so is distillation.
Yeah.
but-
Well, yeah. So,
And I hear you, but it's interesting that I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, and you're just gonna, it's gonna become another segment. And guess what? 2020, you're gonna have spiked seltzer with lactose, and guess what? It's called soda now. It's
Right.
It's it's hard soda, but you're gonna
just-
put lactose in it, and it's gonna
You
be
took my
sweet,
idea.
Good old milk soda.
Yeah, milkshake
buddy.
seltzers.
So
Totally took my idea. And there
you
are
know.
apparently hazy seltzers already.
yeah, man.
Hazy spike
Fantastic.
seltzer.
They beat me to it.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, man. But you're going to have the first pastry seltzer. Don't worry.
Don't blow me up, Chris.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing.
It's not you, Tim. It's KCBC's doing it.
That's
Yeah.
right. I'm drawing a line in the sand.
I'll do pretty much anything.
We will not be.
And I mean
Let's get
anything.
Tim and I were talking about it earlier today, and I always say, it's like, hey, everybody has their business, and I don't really care what anybody else does. We make the beers that we like to make, and Mars likes to make the beers they like to make, and it's it should be something you're passionate about, and whatever it is, whether you're making hard seltzer, or you're making rum, or you're making natural wines, or whatever it is, it's like, put your passion into it, and and it is. It's being, I think Kenny said it earlier. It's being on top of your game. What is the trend in the industry? Beverage is a fast-paced, moving industry. It is not the days of old where somebody is going to drink a brand for life, and that's what I love about it. We get the beauty of that is we get to brew a wide variety of beers, and I can throw in wild cards that are really fun to make because guess what? People are down for trying it, and sometimes I get to make the same thing for a period of time, and we have very few beers that we brew all the time, and we might luck out, and people might be down with that for 5 years, or they might be down with it for 20. Who knows? I think it's just
it's interesting you bring up like passion and being on top of your game, because as we've been sitting here earlier, I posted a photo to my Insta, not my Finsta.
Oh, which one?
Not to the
Okay.
gram.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out the
I don't
So
get
the
reception.
difference
between
I don't
the
get
two of those.
reception in here.
of Chris Quinn and a Bon and Vive in the foreground. And a friend of mine who is one of the brewers at Marble out in New Mexico.
Oh, Marble! Shout out to Marble.
Shout out to Marble.
Went there a while back.
Marble Pilsner
yeah,
is
yeah.
one of my favorite beers. There are many in my fridge because he was just in town and I told him to bring me some.
Oh, you know what would have been a good time to mention that? Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, it's all right. I didn't get shut down earlier. No big deal. So he chatted me and said, I got to get you some of my hard seltzer. It's been my baby over the past few months. And I said, oh, yes. And he said, yeah, I know it's not quote unquote craft, but it's been a really fun project. So
That's
that
cool. He's having fun doing it.
kind of goes
That's-
exactly with what you just said. Like, they're making great beer. They don't need to make hard seltzer, but they're going to sell a whole lot of it if they do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then, do they need to, or?
I mean, it's hot out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure
hot.
people will drink it.
Yeah, but like Tony said, just brew what you love and put your passion into it, and then watch White Claw become the #1 SKU.
Then add some haze. Add some haze.
Yeah, add some mate. But actually, an interesting segue would be our letter. And for those of you, thank you for writing the letters. I know we haven't been doing them every week lately, but I do appreciate everyone who does write letters. Still haven't seen a handwritten letter, guys. So unless, and this is a possibility, they are getting lost and sent to Edmar. It has happened in the past where people will finally email and be like, did you ever get the letter I spent the time to handwrite and mail to you? And I'll say, no, I didn't. But we have gotten handwritten letters in the past. We got a typewriter letter one time. It was awesome. Like an actual
That's pretty
on a
sweet.
typewriter, which is great.
Nice.
Anyway,
1948.
if you want to send a letter, you would have to find a stamp somewhere. You have to go to a post office if those still exist, and then send it to 3219 South Morgan Street in Chicago, Illinois, 60608, and that's the Co-Prosperity Sphere. You have to say something about this is for the Beer Temple. Do not give it to Edmar. You can say literally on the envelope, you can say that. That will probably ensure that it gets to me. So that's always fun to get those. But if you just want to send an electronic letter, let's say, you would send to insiders@craftbeertemple.com. And that's exactly what, let me see. Am I going to write? Okay, I almost read the wrong letter. So this is exactly what Steve did. Oh, and sign the letter exactly how you want me to say it. So if you sign your letter with your full name, I will say your full name. And sometimes people are in the industry and they don't want their full name disclosed. And if you don't want me to say anything, keep it anonymous, I will. And people do that. Anyway, this letter is not nearly that scandalous, so don't worry about it. Anyway, Steve wrote, "Hi, Chris. In the quest for something different yet drinkable, and a week or two after laughing at this in the grocery store beer aisle, I made a 180-degree and bought a box of," and he had a picture. He said, "See pictures below." It's the 21st Amendment Brewery Spark Ale. And they say Spark Ale is, quote, "like a sparkler crackling against the sky at dusk. Our sparkling rosé ale is a refreshing pop of fruit and fizz with tart flavors and a crisp finish." So I can see why somebody here is making the gagging face. People are laughing and stuff like that, which is apparently is exactly what Steve did. He said after laughing at this in the grocery store beer aisle, he
Y'all don't know how to
did a
live.
180 and bought it. And he said, what else did he say? Crisp and he says, and it has, quote, "special ingredients, apple, cranberry, peach, and cherry." So there's often talk of the ridiculous products breweries come out with to make a buck or be creative. Anyway, I love this stuff. I've been on a run of mostly easy drinking beer and the eternal IPAs of California. This gentleman was from California, and he sent a picture of some of the IPAs that's in his fridge. So can everyone get on board and love the summertime brews and be joyful for the exotic and ridiculous? I looked at Spark Ale and thought, seriously? But then I drank it and was blessed with the ability to drink many more. Oh, we're out that there. Oh. So I think that's kind of exactly what you guys were saying before is like, yeah, it might not be the craftiest thing. And this to me looks like a direct play at, if not seltzer, maybe like sodas or something like that. Tart fruit things. I hear everybody hears the beer being poured. We love that sound. Thank you, Tim and Shayna. Yeah.
I would just say his note of breweries are always trying to do something to make a buck or be creative. Are those the only two reasons that we do anything? Like you either you either need to pay the bills with it or you're being creative with it. Sometimes hopefully
you're lucky, you can do
hopefully
both.
a lot of times you can do both
Yeah.
and kill two birds with one stone. But yeah.
Well,
So what was his?
well, he's
take
saying
on
of ridiculous products. He's saying
Oh,
to make
yeah,
a buck
yeah.
or be creative.
Right.
So yeah. So but I think that's kind of like the Natter Days type thing, right? Isn't
Right.
that is that grapefruit or is that
It's strawberry.
strawberry?
Strawberry lemonade.
Strawberry lemonade.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I know nothing about Natter
Ooh,
Days,
that
though.
was dangerous, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not the producer. I wouldn't be in trouble. She's a professional. She's got it.
Jamie's not here.
Yeah. It's not Jamie's board.
Oh.
So I don't make the rules. I just follow them. All right. Somebody gram that.
Yeah, some producers do not follow
Yeah,
the rules
right.
of the show.
I don't think that's the rules of many different things what just happened. Anyway, we'll leave that to your imagination, folks. Let's just say producer Anna's down to party. Yeah. All right. Anyway, but I think Steve gets to something, getting back to the letter. It's like, does it have to be taken seriously all the time? And do we have to parse out, are they trying to be creative? Are they trying to just make a buck and be like, well, let me try it and see if I like it? I personally felt the same way about a beer called, get ready, the Notorious POG from Stone.
I
that
almost
just-
grabbed that for tonight.
It's
POG.
really good.
Is it?
Pog.
It's good.
Like Pog.
Yeah.
It's like a passion fruit guava tart kettle sour type thing.
So was grabbing the Allagash a mistake?
No, that was excellent.
All right, fine.
Whatever
I mean,
Allagash
Allagash
beer
is
you
shit.
grabbed was
Hey, there's
amazing.
there's nothing
All right.
wrong with that,
Yeah,
Are we talking POG like with a slammer, like from the 90s?
I don't know. I
Collect
mean,
your
I'm
pogs.
I'm pretty old, so I'm actually too old for pogs.
I
so-
just caught the end
Yeah,
of those.
that's my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm too old for
Anna
pogs.
doesn't know what we're talking about.
She's like, pogs? What?
What?
Oh, Anna has to
It's as
know
dumb
about
as it
that.
sounds.
But also kind of cool.
Yeah, it was like those Tiddlywinks. It's like Tiddlywinks,
yeah, it's
isn't
like
it?
Tiddlywinks, but for
Yeah,
teenagers.
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
that,
it's in the
that,
90s.
that takes it even further.
It's like Tiddlywinks, but when
You
you
put that
have to
knife
collect to make them collectible. Anyway, I certainly don't want to talk about that, but I do think that. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the letter, Steve. And yeah, I mean, maybe it is just like people want something light and fruity and stuff like that.
I'd love to speak about that.
Yeah, please do.
No, because we love making lagers. We do a ton of IPA and a handful of lager and a handful of other stuff. And this summer we decided to have fun. We do a rice lager called Strap Hanger. It's like
that's an awesome name, Strap Hanger.
Strap Hanger's a subway rider in New York City, and it's our shout out to New York City, and it's just a pretty hoppy light rice lager, 4.8%. And so this summer we're like, we kind of need to make strap hanger with lime and put key lime juice in there because that'll be delicious. So why wouldn't we do that?
And it's delicious.
Such
a good beer.
Sounds really good.
And then once we did that, one of our brewers, we were making another beer and we had a bunch of strawberries around, and all of a sudden somebody comes out of the back and he's like, Strap-Lite lime. We call it Strap-Lite lime. He's like, Strap-Lite lime with strawberry in it. Totally Straparita. And we were like, that's insanely delicious. We need to make that as well. So, those don't, that's not really us as I wouldn't say that's who we are as a brand. We're not chasing that, but it was fun and it was delicious, and we wanted to drink that, in July and August. And so we made it, and, so is that...
So you're sellouts is what you're saying.
Completely, because what's really a sellout is just, making light lager in Brooklyn, New York at high rent and, a 6-week lagering time,
running a successful business.
Sellout.
Sounds like a pretty big sellout.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would go to 21st Amendment, and, with that beer and be like, I'd like to believe that that's brewers being like, there's a balance between this, making highbrow beer and drinking, and making stuff that's just fun and enjoyable and drinkable, and sometimes I just like drinking beer and I want to have 5 of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And,
it's like, so Strap-Lite lime's what 4.2%.
And that's exactly what Steve had said.
Just crush them.
He said, I drank it and was blessed with the ability to drink many more.
Exactly, and you know what? Today is a perfect day in Chicago. That's exactly what you want to have.
It was warm.
Yeah, it was warm. But honestly, making a flavorful, drinkable beverage is not the easiest thing to do.
We're drinking drinking lager at Mars today. I can't remember the name, but the corn lager.
Chug Life.
Chug Life. You can. The word adjunct is such a, and it used to be such this criminal thing, using corn or rice or something. But
no corn syrup, everybody. No corn syrup.
Yeah,
it's flaked maize.
Flaked maize. We use flaked brown rice in our Strap Hanger. This
Is it cold fermented?
Oh, it's cold pressed and cold
fermented.
Oh,
nice.
You really get the
double
Wow.
double
really
whammy.
keep the enzymes.
Yeah.
Is it pour over?
V60.
Next batch.
Good.
I mean,
Then maybe I'll drink it.
Hey man, make what you want to drink.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's rocket science what we do, and other times it's just chilling and hanging out.
Which I think is what beer should be. Honestly, I don't think it all needs to be. I call them headphones beers. Like, they don't need to be things you need to sit and concentrate to fully appreciate. I think sometimes it's about finding that perfect line between being able to kind of go into the background and be drinkable, but then when you want to notice it, it can kind of be there and present something for you.
Yeah.
I think at its best, that's what kind of those session beers can be. Mm-hmm. And there is an art to making those beers. I mean, that's yeah, that's cool. And again, some people just want it to stay in the background, and they don't want to have to think about it because that's not why they have that in their hand. They're there to have fun doing something else, and I think that's perfectly legit as well. So thank you to Steve for the letter and exposing Tony as a sellout.
Well,
and
There's-
what?
let me just say quickly, in Tony's defense,
I'll embrace it.
yeah, you got to know the rules before you can break them. And I would say that as somebody who's had a lot of Tony's beers, I think, and I'm not just saying this because he's sitting next to me and because I like his beer.
I have a table in between me,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can poke fun without. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tony is in the position to be able to say things like this because clearly the people who work at KCBC and Tony himself, they know the rules. So they're able to have fun with it because they know how to brew. So there is a line I think you have to draw where it can't always be fun, but it can be fun once you know what you're doing. And I just wanted to make that distinction.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tony. Yeah. I got you, dude.
Got
what's
so
up,
much
Shanna?
nicer
I feel
after
all
Jamie.
warm and fuzzy
I
inside.
know.
Yeah,
Now I'm the cantankerous one. I mean, hey, yeah.
you're
Maybe
usually
it's-
good cop too.
All right. Well, no, you obviously don't listen to the show. I'm definitely.
Yeah, this is my 1st
I'm
time. I've never
definitely the
heard it. I'll be
curmudgeon.
honest. Yeah, never
I'm a
been here.
curmudgeon. But I wanted to thank again Steve for sending that in. If you have anything, it doesn't need to be an experience. It can be a question or something you would just like to hear some hot takes on, because we always can provide those. It's insiders@craftbeertemple.com. And thank you very much for that, Steve. I was going to try to see if I could find some more reviews to read, but I don't know how to do that on my
Reviews of the
iPad.
show, or
Yeah, reviews in the show that people have written, but I
Do you have any
don't know how to do it.
one or two star reviews?
There
I'd
were
I'd
some-
love to go through those.
There are some really good ones.
Oh man.
I've read one on the air and quickly got mid-sentence realized that, because I was reading it for the first time, that it was calling out somebody that I had to quickly catch my tongue. But anyway, thanks for that review. We don't get any they're not as good as really bad Yelp ones. So
or Allagash reviews.
yeah. Or Allagash. Yeah, that Allagash
Just
review
saw
was
that.
amazing.
Oh wow.
If anyone doesn't follow a Worst Beer blog, and if you listen to the show, you
yeah.
probably do. You should be. It's really, it's good.
What a blast.
And if you're a
It's a
brewery,
blast,
and
yeah.
if you're a brewery, your life brewery goal is to just not end up on Worst Beer blog.
He's getting 1,000 new followers a week. I've been keeping
Is
my
he?
eye on that. Yeah.
It started out slow,
It
but it's
did.
nice that he's really
in the
getting.
last few weeks. It's really been on point. And
That's awesome.
It's really funny.
It's
A lot of
my-
popcorn.
Yeah, a lot of popcorn. I go
That's
to my
awesome.
Instagram and I hit the search button, and he's the first one that pops up because they know what I want.
Yeah, he's or they
Or they, whoever, or
whoever
she.
it is.
Could be
Yeah.
she.
Whoever
Yeah.
you guys
The robots.
are,
Yeah.
I'm entertained.
Oh, it's got to be
Yeah.
a team by now.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
probably
mean-
leveraging that for all it's worth.
And it's great that people are obviously just sending all the juicy G to him. All the gossip goes to him,
Yeah.
or them,
Or them.
it.
Or she.
Yeah.
Can we call it? I actually have to stop what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Tony.
Tony,
end
don't
up-
end
Don't-
up.
We just built you
don't
up.
end up
We
on
just
Worst
built you up.
But I wanted to thank my guests, Kenny Gould. I don't have and it's Tony
Bellis.
Bellis,
Yeah.
and it's Tim Lang and Shayna Solarte and producer Anna. So I want to thank all of you folks for being on the show. I'm still trying to quickly see if I could pull up a
Terrible
review. Yeah, but
yeah.
can I?
Give us
Probably
one.
not.
Come on.
Well, I get so few of them, Tim. It really is hard
Oh,
because everyone
that's
loves
not
the
true.
show.
Yeah.
No, the best, the funniest ones are definitely the 5-star ones because it's all the inside jokes that make me giggle
Dust jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Feels like
There's some other ones. They
warm
make,
and
it used
fuzzy.
to go to coconut jokes and Kona. You really get to see where we've come from and where we're going with all the inside jokes that are stupid, but people just know if they refer to. I will laugh and read them on air. So people are gaming the system, and that's totally fine.
Well, while you do that,
Yeah.
I'd like to shout out to Casa Bruja Brewery
Yeah.
in Panama, because a few of us are partaking in their Delay beer, which is they made with Flores Delay, if you're familiar with that gentleman. Just like a master brewer dude. And it's real nice. So thanks to those guys for sending me a bottle of their nice, tasty beer.
Yeah.
Super delicious.
Cheers.
Delicious. Thank you
And
guys.
Miguel
cheers.
Rivas,
Gracias.
Miguel Rivas just wrote about them for Mash Tun, and they're great.
Yeah, we did a collab with them down in their neck of the woods, and yeah, cool dudes. Yeah.
You did
Are
a
you
collab,
whittling
right?
as you
Done.
talk, Tony? Are you whittling something? I saw you just
Can
looking
you put
down
that
and
knife
kind of
away,
like,
Tony?
yeah, he's got a knife and he's like scraping something.
If anyone was
Oh,
curious why,
no.
I
Hey
s-
man, people leave knives. Hey, I thought when in Chicago you have a pocket knife, right?
I sharpened that a
Yeah.
little while ago. It won't quite shave now, but
I know.
It did.
Yeah.
There was a knife laying on the table, so I'm playing.
Well,
with
we
it.
needed
It's
a
all
bottle opener, so Tony
yeah.
just whittled us one.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I do it.
beautiful.
You can't even buy a pocket knife in New York City. I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah,
no, you can't.
get arrested for that.
Producer Anna needs to.
Careful. Good catch,
Get some
Tony.
nerve.
Caught yourself the third time. Let's say our goodbyes. Is there
did you get
anything?
that review?
Yeah.
Where's the review, Chris? Where's
We didn't have any new ones that I haven't already read.
All right.
So fail from
review,
the
so everyone should
listeners.
review.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Get a review out
Sounds
there.
Come
like-
on.
Let's go.
So is there any final words you guys would like to say? Anything you'd like to talk about or mention in closing? Tim, do you want to start? You're looking at me. You're
please-
making eye contact.
Yeah, really good eye contact. Please come to Mars Brewing, our brewery.
That is a call to action. I will have
Saturday?
you start over.
Oh, sorry. This Saturday at Mars Brewing, there's a wonderful festival called Juicy Brews with Hop Culture Magazine. It's from 12 to 4 o'clock. There's going to be a lot of awesome beers from out of town and our awesome beers and KCBC's beers that we brought in town. So please come have some.
And they just show up to get in?
They just show up and
Cool.
it's
Awesome.
token based and you buy whatever you want and drink whatever you want and look at some art and
Got it.
have a fun day.
And that's this Saturday too.
That is this Saturday
Oh.
in 2 days.
Maybe I'll go.
The 20th.
If you're in town.
20th of July, 2019.
Yeah.
Right, so that way people in the
specific.
future aren't just showing up to
Right.
Mars and
Sure.
being like, what is going on?
We're on
Are we?
Mars,
Can
man.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have Killer Queen,
Ah.
by the way.
Yeah,
okay.
they have 8-player Killer Queen, which the real version.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Just saying, if you don't know,
Now you know.
now you know.
Shayna, anything?
My constant PSA to the world is that foam is good. You want foam on your beer.
Foam the brewery or foam?
Foams
the,
are friends.
Oh, Foam's going to be here in Chicago this weekend.
Yeah.
At the festival.
oh, are you talking about?
on Saturday.
yeah, I'll
Lots-
see
lots of
foam there
foams.
from Vermont.
Yeah,
Lots of
Vermont
foams.
Oh, yeah.
represent. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about
know.
that, but sure, I'll support that too.
How do you feel about foam, Tim? Give me your thoughts on foam.
Retention is best.
Got it.
That's all.
Okay.
Can I give a quick shout out?
Well, you were going to be next.
Thank you. I'm gonna shout out.
So you asked for one and now
Well,
aren't ready. How about you think about it,
yeah,
Tony?
Tony,
Is it-
Tony, you go. Tony,
anything
you
you'd
go.
like to say?
I'm going to make a retention as best T-shirt because just needs to be done.
Needs to be done.
Be a Mars KCBC collab T-shirt.
Let's do it.
Retention is best.
Best.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Kenny, who was afraid he wasn't
Yeah,
going to
sure.
get a
I'm gonna
last
give
word.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my mom, Amy. What a gem!
Hi, Mom.
Aw.
Absolute gem. I am throwing a festival on Saturday at Mars Brewing. I'm also throwing a festival on August 10th in Brooklyn, New York,
Brooklyn represent.
celebrating women in craft beer. And my Instagram's at Hop Culture Mag if you
See,
want to
Anna-
say hi to me.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. August 10th out in Brooklyn. I was told by Anna that really nothing could go wrong, and here we go.
I'm hearing something
now
weird.
something's going wrong.
Yeah. You hear that, Chris?
I think. Oh, okay.
Oh. Is it wrong or right?
I think it's right.
I think it's right.
Everything is right. Everything's fine, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I want to thank all my guests. We're going in as we went out, Tim. A little, off the rails. A little